Hello, and welcome to another episode of Thrive Like a Parent podcast. Today, I don't think you're going to like what I have to say, but I think that it's got to be said, and it's a very important reminder. So, last night, I went to the Pink concert. You know, so many are going to T Swift, and I don't know. I like her. Sure, she's great. But Pink, man, oh man, her words to her songs are just so powerful and so meaningful. And my throat literally hurts from screaming, singing with the crowd last night. And I don't remember the last time I have done something like that. You know, I was thinking before the show, when is the last time? And yes, I've gone to a few concerts, actually, a good handful of concerts, specifically since Carter and I have been dating. He is a really, really big music fan. And so we try to go see the shows that we want. But I haven't been to something like this, a show that I chose because I knew that it was going to be a get up on your feet and dance all night. Choosing something for me, like just hadn't done something like this in a really long time. And of course, I started reflecting on my life. And during the time of my relationship with Jonathan, I shifted so much within myself because I was trying so hard. Let me say that again, because I was trying so hard to make it all fit. And I thought that's what you did in a relationship is give up parts of yourself and give up things that you love to compromise to really make the other person happy. And I took that to such an extreme of putting Jonathan above myself whenever I could, all the time. That was my number one top priority. And because of that, I completely abandoned myself. Jonathan and I didn't really travel much. We didn't explore much. We didn't do much. We worked. We tried to build a community and fit in with our community. And I want to say keep up with the Joneses in terms of just our community, of keep up by going to all the parties and going to, the dinners and just life. And I stopped doing things that light me up. And I think that so often we get into dynamics with individuals where we do that. I was having a conversation with my friend Sabrina, who I was with last night. And, I have to say, there are years, especially in the beginning with your children, where you have no other choice but to abandon yourself. You have no other choice but to put your child first when they are at the age where they're crawling and a bookshelf could fall on top of them, or just real life shit can happen. And your eyes need to be on them, or your arms need to be ready to carry them, or you need to be up all night because they're colicky or they're, sick. Or there are years that abandoning ourselves absolutely does happen. And Sabrina was building an incredible career for herself, and she had a few different positions and a few different jobs. And just recently, what made her quit her job and go after now her dream of starting her own company was that she couldn't do it anymore. And as she began to slow down, she could feel how desperately her body was aching and how desperately her body needed to slow down. And oftentimes I find that with clients, they come to me and they're hands down, going, living in fight or flight. That's where they're at. They can't even feel it. You're just not aware of how fast you're going. And you are an expert at ignoring the signs and symptoms of your body crashing. And you can stay up there for many, many years. And the second you start slowing down is when the scaffolding underneath you starts to crumble. And the deferred maintenance that you may have had for years and years is now showing up at your front doorstep. And you might be in pain, or you might have a ton of brain fog, or you might feel depressed. You might feel lonely. You may not be able to get out of bed. You might have health issues, high cholesterol, I don't know, high sugar, all these things will just start showing up. Because when your body is in fight or flight, it is pumping out so much hormone to keep your body going. It's trying to fix it on its own. It's trying to keep it safe. It's trying to keep it going. But then when you say, okay, I don't need that much anymore, then the lights on your dashboard start lighting up. Engine light, check engine, change oil, brakes are out. And things kind of start snowballing. And doing things for yourself, going to see the damn concert or going to just lay on the couch and visit with a friend one evening or doing the yoga class or driving around and saying, hey, I need a minute. Doing the thing is not selfish. Doing the thing gives you a sense of belonging and captivating your own life to enjoy it, not just be tied to the to-do list and the outcome being your self-worth of that to-do list. Now, I'm not going to lie. There are always moments during evenings such as this, going to a concert where there's dancers. When I went to Dancing with the Stars, it was the same thing. You know, grief is a suitcase that you carry around and you continue to unpack for the rest of your life. And grief can look different. And me not pursuing the true grief for me. I did not want to go to college. I wanted to go to LA and I wanted to go dance. And while I love my life, I wish I had done it. And I got scared because I would have had to, at a very young age, at 18, I would have had to pack up my life and figure out how to support myself. And I don't know if I was ready. And that scared the shit out of me. And I wish that I had taken a chance on myself, because even if I wasn't the best dancer in the bunch at the time, when you fall in love with something so deeply that you literally don't think you could live without it, that's the thing you're supposed to go after in life. And that is the thing that ultimately you will be the most successful at, because you love it and because it lights you up and because it's your reason for existing in the world. And I'm saying this part of the experience. You know, I watch those dancers on stage and I wish that was me. Yes, I know I'm pushing it in terms of, I'm going to be 39 this month, but I wish that was me. Pink came out on the stage and I looked at Sabrina and I started screaming and I was like, I want to be her. You don't understand. I want to wear a sparkly leotard with like big ass, like sparkly boots and shake my ass on a stage and flick everyone off and say fuck and bitch. I want to do that. That looks a lot of fun. I don't know if I could do all of her acrobatic stuff, but who wouldn't want to do that? I get jealous. I'm not going to lie. I get jealous. When I was at Dancing with the Stars last year, I really got choked up because I want to be on that stage. I want to be down there. I don't want to be up here. I don't want to be up here in the audience clapping and smiling. I want to be on that stage. And the reason I'm sharing this with you, and I'm going through the whole process of how the evening went, a few different stories to tell. But the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I had this aha moment last night of the thing that your children love the most is the thing that they will be most successful at. And I think that we fear success means how are they going to support themselves? There's fear for us of like financial, of how are they going to keep the lights on? And that's what makes our children, if you will, success of, can they stand on their own 2 feet? Their life doesn't have to look like ours financially. And I think we need to build more trust with our children in terms of trusting their choices, of allowing them to go after what it is they feel so deep down inside that they need to go do for themselves. And it's okay to allow them to make their own mistakes and go after their dreams. It is, because they'll figure it out. They'll find their way. And now the last thing, I started this podcast by saying, I don't know if you're going to know what I'm about to say, but I saved it till the end. Here comes my rant. I went to concerts when I was young. My dad loved music, loved it. He could play the guitar, he could play the piano. My dad, the same way that I wish I was a professional dancer and, you know, doing backup dancing for Pink and whoever else. My dad wishes he was a musician. And so he would take us. And I remember seeing the Eagles a handful of times. My dad took me to concerts that I wanted to go to. He took me to Britney Spears. I was dying. He took me to NSYNC. I had the best time. My dad exposed us to music. And last night, and by the way, I think we all know that concert tickets aren't cheap anymore. Not at all. Last night, there was, I believe, in front of us, there was 4 women and there was a young child. And the young child watched for about, I don't know, I didn't really pay attention, watched for a few songs, I don't really know. And at some point, I looked down and this child is on a phone and watching YouTube and turning up the volume and putting the volume in her ear so she can hear over the concert and watch. She's literally head down, sitting in a chair, legs crossed, watching her mom's phone while this absolutely incredible immersive experience of a performance is going on. And while you may listen to this and think, why are you talking about another family? You don't know what's going on in their life. You don't know what's going on with the little girl. You're judging. I'm not talking about this to judge. I'm not talking about this to point someone out and say that's a bad parent. That's totally not the reason for doing this. But I immediately, when I looked at this little girl sitting directly in front of me, face down, watching the phone, I thought to myself, this is heartbreaking. This is so sad because in today's world, that's totally socially acceptable to let your kids watch the iPad or phones or screens while they're eating, or if you want to go to an event and you need to drag them along, or if you're working out and they need to sit there, so you bring the iPad. There's a million different reasons why, right? But the hardest part for me is that little girl was robbed of an experience to experience what a concert is. Her brain and body wasn't able to immerse herself in, even if she didn't know the songs, even if she was bored. It looked like a grandparent and then maybe a mom and maybe 2 moms and an older child. I don't really know. They looked like family. But they were all dancing. They were all having a blast. And this little girl's just sitting there on her phone, staring down, probably 5 till 11 o'clock at night. And again, what is heartbreaking about it is going to the Eagles concert, having those experiences with my dad. I know that when my dad is gone, that will be one thing that I have a core memory of and I will cherish for a lifetime. And yes, we all make memories very differently. And I'm not saying that this girl should have an experience I had growing up. It's not about that. But these phones and these tablets and these iPads and these screens I really feel that they're causing damage to our society in terms of how we interact with the world. And I was talking to Carter lately about nature versus nurture. I see some kids, especially now that my kids are getting to, Charlie's 10, almost 11. As they're getting older, I see certain kids and Lila's almost 13, so I see her age group too. I see kids who can interact and communicate with the world, and I see some that come in my home and don't even know how to acknowledge my existence. And I'm not talking from a respectable, demandable, you need to address me thing. It's literally just out of sight, out of mind, because they're so zoned in and hyper focused from being on screen so much, or the parents are being stretched so incredibly thin or burnt out because they're working so hard and they don't have time to teach these things or interact with their children because they're working so hard to keep the lights on. It's sometimes heartbreaking to see where the world is shifting and how it's shifting from what our childhood was honestly like. So don't be pissed off at me, but this is just your reminder to go do the thing. Go enjoy and take time and do things for you. Take care of yourself. Don't neglect your dashboard, and check in with your kids and connect with them because they want to connect with you. And I know it's hard and I know it's exhausting. And there was definitely a year in there where I needed screens to help me when I was crying in the closet from grief. I get it. But if you do have the capacity, show up for them, because I've seen a few, I'm honestly trying to censor myself and I just shouldn't be. Okay, I'm going to say it. And what I mean by this is nature versus nurture. What I'm seeing is that there are some kids who to me seem they are bordering on the line of having sensory and emotional, even slightly autistic tendencies, no social awareness, no social skills. And it's not because they don't have them. I'm seeing individuals who are still wearing diapers at the age of 12 at night. I'm seeing individuals who can't hold a conversation and make eye contact. And I do believe that some of it is genetics, some of it is food. We could go into the whole list of why I think our brains are the way we are. But the other component that I've never talked about is the nurture part. And I really do believe that we are training our brains to be in a hyper focused state and not be able to come out of it. Okay, I said it. Don't hate the messenger. So until next time, I'm going to continue to push and say the things I feel need to be said. And I promise I won't skirt around the issues. Sometimes I get up the guts to say the thing right away, but sometimes it's hard. I don't want to impose my beliefs on you, but I can't help what I'm seeing, especially now that I'm surrounded with older kids, right? I'm not with infants and toddlers anymore, because my kids aren't infants and toddlers anymore. So would love to know your thoughts on this one. Might be controversial. But until next time, XOXO, Dr. B.